Yeah, let's get this out of the way.
With your,
Right, okay.
I'm hoping there is penguins involved in this,
Well,
because that's the
let's...
only appealing thing about it.
Okay. Penguin
Alright.
Bloom is directed by Glendon Ivan and written by Sean Grant and Harry Cripps. It stars Naomi Watts, Andrew Lincoln of Walking Dead fame, and a bird. Right.
Is it a penguin?
No, it's
Are
not.
penguins birds?
Yes,
I-
Jack. Penguins are birds.
No, because like some animals, you think that they're something, but they're actually mammals or something like that.
Oh,
They
God,
are, but
they're birds, Jack.
is this going to
They've
be
got
really
beaks
embarrassing for me?
and wings, and they're feathered.
Well, yes, when you spell it out like that, they are quite clearly birds. I'm just going to go back to sleep, and I'll talk to you in an hour.
Right. Well, obviously Jack hasn't been paying attention to David Attenborough very much, but with this.
I will not let that slide. I love it.
Right. So this is based on a true story, funnily enough, of Australian. It's an Australian story. It's about Sam Bloom, an active outdoorsy mother who's left paralysed from the ribs down after an accident on holiday, and in the story, shortly after coming home, starting to adjust to life, one of her sons returns from a trip to the beach with an injured magpie, not a penguin, a magpie, and they adopt it and nurse it back to health. They call it Penguin because it's black and white, because it's a magpie. And obviously they haven't been watching their David Attenborough either.
Which is also a bird.
Mm-hmm. That's right, Jack. Well done. To quote something else terrible and Australian, can you tell what it is yet? It's very heavy-handed metaphors. Oh, an injured bird and a woman dealing with the adversity of disability.
Do we really want to be using Rolf Harris quotes and jokes on this show?
That's why I said something terrible in Australian. Anyway.
I know, but it still felt wrong.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Oh well. Yeah, so those metaphors, they're going to club you to death. It's pretty bad. Like, it's like a typical Hallmark family film, except it gets quite a lot wrong, and it plays it very safe at the same time. It's kind of... So this whole thing about, like, the story is about dealing with the adversity of a disability, and I have some personal experience with this. I'm not going to go into lots of detail, but it was a little bit insulting to me. And I think it's a little insulting to the general concept that they were dealing with. They treated it in a very kind of lazy way. They treat it as like disability is almost like a linear process for like getting over it, and it's not really something that happens in that way. And I know that they kind of have to have some kind of happy ending in order to not make it seem a little bit bleak, but like it just brushed over something, and it's like, if you're going to do a film about that topic, you do your research kind of thing. So yeah. That was a little bit insulting. I'm not going to keep going on about that because there's other stuff that was shit about this film too. Basically, the story arcs, they get loads of stuff wrong. There's a story arc with one of the sons who is kind of the narrator of this whole story, and it all comes to a head when there's kind of like there's a big confrontation towards the end of the film, and it kind of solves all the problems. And this is like 6 months worth of trauma that's supposedly expelled within like 5 lines of dialogue. Again, it's lazy. It's very lazy. And yeah, it's just very melodramatic. I liked Naomi Watts' performance. I think she's pretty good in it, although she has one of the lousiest scripts around. And actually, the bird was really good. the magpie was very well trained. I've heard that they're really smart animals.
You know,
and
when the best thing about your film is the animal training, you've got problems.
yeah, I know. But it was actually quite good. Andrew Lincoln. I mean, he was he did his best job to be super duper insipid. He was basically just nothing, apart from the kind of like, Hallmark family dad, kind of role. And then the kids were kids, there's not really anything else you can add about that. It wasn't particularly unimpressive or impressive. Other than that, the soundtrack was definitely kind of tuned to pull on the heartstrings, and the backdrop was quite pretty because it's sort of like it looked like it was definitely approved by the Tourism Board of Australia, but otherwise it doesn't really do very much for me. I gave it a 4 out of 10. It could have been a 3 out of 10, to be honest. It was between the two. I thought
Is it one of those that if you cared more, it might be 3 or 2, but it doesn't sound very captivating.
Yeah.
Whether that's good or bad.
I just couldn't be bothered anymore. And it was a short film, thank God, but it wasn't worth watching.
Oh, well, I lucked out this
These are the sacrifices that I make for this podcast, Jack. I watch really shit films.
We both had to watch shit films. We saw the New Mutants together.
I know. Actually, at least I didn't have to pay for this one.
Yeah, where is it? I mean, not that you're really selling it to people to watch, but where is it available?
It's available on Netflix. There you go.
That's the sad thing.
I really advise you guys not to watch it.